From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is AgDay.
Bright idea.
You could see that it was having a bad day right away, because what was happening is it melts.
Could this be the future for fighting weeds? Farmers in Ukraine continue to plant what they're facing out in the fields right now as new issues emerge. Drought, wind, and wildfires continue to ravage the plains.
We will see a lot of ranchers forced to make some very, very painful decisions as a result of the situation we're in.
What it means for the nation's cattle herd right now on AgDay. Good morning, I'm Clinton Griffiths. While some ranchers are digging out from feet of snow, others are battling drought in areas where the risk for wildfires remain high right now. Take a look at this map from the National Weather Service. It shows the risk area stretched from Las Vegas on east across northern Arizona and much of New Mexico. There's also concern in Colorado, Kansas, and the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles, where crews have been battling fires for weeks. In New Mexico, firefighters are still working to contain a blaze that broke out near the village of Ruidoso. It's called the Mcbride Fire, and at times it's been fueled by dry 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts, causing the fire to spread rapidly. Now, the fire started last Tuesday. It's now about 84% contained. But the problem is not new for ranchers in the plains who have been battling drought for months. As Farm Journal's Tyne Morgan reports, many are facing difficult decisions.
Wildfires are waging war on the plains this year, and Southwest Kansas rancher Cooper Adams, who's fifth generation to run cattle here, is now staring at a backdrop that's covered in dirt and ashes.
I lost 5, maybe 6 baby calves, is the best I can tell for now, and about 15 miles of fences, and then about 5,000 acres of grass.
Thankful the majority of their herd survived, it's the fact the fires robbed them of already drought-stricken grazing ground that is now weighing on their minds.
We were sort of in that position. We stocked conservatively, so I felt okay, but losing 5,000 acres of grass, why? Yes, I've already bought some hay and trying to find ways that I can supplement these cattle. But if we don't have some rain in the forecast, I'm going to be faced with having to sell some cows.
It's a tough decision and one ranchers across the West are plagued with this year. According to our reporting partners at Drovers, liquidation is already starting, with the industry on track to reduce the nation's cow herd to close to 2014 levels, which was the smallest herd since 1952. And this side-by-side in the latest issue of Drovers paints the picture best, with nearly 80% of the nation's cattle herd seeing some level of drought, and it's liquidation that's expected to continue.
As we get through May into June, and into July, we will see a lot of ranchers forced to make some very, very painful decisions as a result of the situation we're in.
Oklahoma State livestock specialist Daryl Peel says widespread drought is the culprit for what he sees as an acceleration of liquidation today.
A spring drought is absolutely a worst case scenario, because we come out of winter, we've used up most, if not all, of our hay. We don't get any spring growth. We go immediately into severe decision making. It's not like a drought we sort of see building over a summer and we can kind of plan and work our way into it. This one's just here all of a sudden.
And he says if rain doesn't drench these drought-stricken areas in the next 2 to 3 weeks, it could be a repeat of 2011.
There's a couple of similarities and a couple of differences. That year, the drought conditions right now in terms of time of year and the potential impacts are similar to 2011. The difference is that one was very severe, but very localized in the Southern Plains. Now, it was a big area, but still the Southern Plains. This year, we have much wider spread drought conditions.
And we want to get the very latest on this fire danger in the West. Meteorologist Matt Yurosavik joins us. And Matt, the low humidity in those areas sure isn't helping things.
Yeah, that's right, Clinton. We've had very low humidity, not a lot of precipitation out there in the West, and that's what's causing some of these higher fire dangers as we head through today. So taking a look across the country, 2 areas to kind of zoom in on, one being in the northern plains, and that would be parts of Nebraska and into South Dakota, places like North Platte. up to Rapid City and over towards Cheyenne, even some elevated fire danger there in the red. And same thing for most of the state of New Mexico, parts of Arizona, and over toward Lubbock, Texas as well, where we've got that elevated fire danger through today. Again, lack of moisture, some gusty winds, and just overall low humidity. That pattern, though, will be changing. We'll get a little bit of some precipitation back there in the west, and that's because of this jet stream, cooler air back in the west with a big trough out in the east, creating warmth like this right here in Carbondale, Illinois. We're going to see highs about 15 to 20 degrees above average in some places in the south and east. And in Carbondale, we're looking at highs near 81 degrees on Friday and Saturday, where the average high normally around 71 degrees. So very warm there as we head through the end of the week. And in Iowa, a totally different scene. Al Frederick of Jefferson sharing this picture, saying he's 70 years old and he made a snowman on Easter Sunday, adding he can now take that off of his bucket list. I'll have more on your forecast coming up.
20 million hens. That's how many chickens have been lost at egg farms due to bird flu. USDA continuing to update its list of places testing positive for highly pathogenic avian influenza. The latest large operation impacted a farm in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, involving 1.4 million commercial layer chickens. The agency also confirming another commercial turkey operation in Polk County, Wisconsin, involving 20,000 commercial turkeys. Right now, wholesale prices for eggs are at least $1 higher per dozen than a year ago, and that is partially being attributed to HPAI. Keeping you updated on spring planting in Ukraine right now. Even if Ukrainian farmers manage to harvest a crop, they don't have enough places to store it. The United Nations Food Program saying right now the country is struggling to export existing grain stocks due to the Russian invasion. And there's concern that won't free up enough space come harvest time. They estimate 15 million tons of grains won't have space in the silos around the country. The WFP also saying 20% of planted areas in the country won't even be harvested. Still, many farmers are trying to plant. Mike Lee, who forecasts Black Sea crops, sharing this video of sunflower seeding starting on a farm in Ukraine. He says it's close to where the fighting is taking place. He reports tractor drivers are wearing bulletproof vests and helmets with everyone on heightened alert. In other parts of the world, it's the soaring fertilizer costs that could cut into production. Across Asia, it's reported the dramatic rise in fertilizer prices is causing rice farmers to scale back using them, something that threatens the harvest of a staple that feeds half of humanity. Bloomberg reporting that it could lead to a full-blown food crisis if prices aren't curbed. From India to Vietnam and the Philippines, prices of crop nutrients crucial to boosting food production have doubled or tripled in the past year. Shanghai is starting to ease its lockdown of the city of 25 million people amid an outbreak of COVID, but there are reports people are struggling to get food, including meat and rice, due to the lockdown. It's also reported the Chinese government is handing out food rations to residents, and people appear to be getting fed up with the city's stringent measures after nearly 3 weeks on lockdown. The latest uproar over online videos that appear to show perfectly good vegetables donated to Shanghai being dumped. The government says the vegetables rotted during transportation and the donor recalled them. Even as the Federal Reserve works to raise interest rates, land prices rose double digits in the first quarter of the year here at home. According to Randy Dickott of Farmers National, land prices rose 20% in the first few months of 2022. Now, the Farmers National Company reporting multiple land sales in the $20,000 per acre range, most of those happening in the I-states, while in places like Missouri, the Dakotas, and Minnesota, land is selling between $12,000 and $15,000 an acre. Farmers National says what happens in Ukraine, grain and oil prices, food supplies, and inflation will all determine trends in the next 6 months. The I words everyone is talking about, inflation and interest rates. We'll discuss what they mean to farming coming up next. And later, this blue light may someday reduce your farm's need for weed-fighting chemicals. Details on Weed Wednesday, right after weather.
AgDay is brought to you by Germinator Closing Wheels. Germinator, it's not just any closing wheel. Reach your yield potential. Free shipping on all orders with coupon code AgDay.
We caught up today with Joe Vaclavic with Standard Grain. Joe, as we look at kind of the overall economy here in the U.S., obviously this inflation story is a big one. It's adding a lot of pressure, and fuel prices seem to really be pushing that at this point.
Yeah, fuel prices on the consumer side at least are the single biggest driver of the headline inflation that you see. 8.5% in March year over year, the highest since 1981. I mean, fuel prices are part of it. I mean, I think a lot of people would argue that some of the inflation numbers are understated, like shelter as one example. You know, shelter, I think they're saying is up 5%. Rents and the cost to buy a house they're up more than 5%. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure at-home food costs, as an example, would be another one. The big thing to watch here is interest rates. The government and the Federal Reserve, they really can't do anything to fix the supply situation. What they can fix or attempt to fix through interest rates is demand for products. And you're already seeing interest rates rise substantially. I mean, I think the average rate on a 30-year mortgage was like 5.1%, whereas it was in the threes just not very long ago. So they're going to try to temper demand for certain items through higher interest rates. You're probably going to see a half-point rate hike next month, and then again in June. At what point do you get to a rate that actually tapers demand off? I don't know. A lot of people would argue that the interest rate needs to get to like the inflation rate. Like you need to see an interest rate near 7, 8, 9%. I don't think we're going to be there anytime soon. So it's tricky to say. This is an interesting deal. I've never seen this in my lifetime. So it's definitely a moving target.
How risky does this feel to you as you look at the overall economy and the health of the economy with all of the other factors that are still kind of unknowns?
I'm not very old, probably relative to some of the viewers at least, but this is the riskiest market I've ever seen in my life, bar none. I mean, there's so many variables here. There's so many irons in the fire, things that could change. I mean, interest rates, the bond market's tumbling, which is something that most people have never seen. The bond market's been in bull market territory for 40 years. The stock market's vulnerable. Gasoline prices, I mean, real estate's vulnerable with these interest rates. You've got Ukraine, you've got Russia. I mean, that situation in the blink of an eye could turn into World War III if the right things happen. There is a phenomenal amount of risk in every direction, up, down, sideways, diagonal. It's the most interesting stuff I've ever seen.
All right, we'll continue to follow along. Appreciate it as always. Thank you for being here, Joe. We'll be back with more AgDay coming up in just a minute.
For more information about Standard Grain and its services, call Joe at 312-462-4438. Your next piece of equipment is on MachineryPete.com. Search equipment from dealerships across the country to find what you're looking for. Only on MachineryPete.com.
Meteorologist Matt Yurosavik joining us here. Matt, as we look at the drought monitor and you overlay that with the fire danger, you can really tell where it's really dry and there's a lot of risk.
Oh yeah, all out through the west, but especially in parts of Texas, western Texas, down into New Mexico, and even up into the Plain States where it's just been so dry, but also the winds on top of that. And it's been very breezy back in the west because of all those big systems that have moved through the middle part of the country, and that's also why we aren't seeing a lot of drought conditions here in the east, and it's going to stay that way as we head at least through the next couple of days. Here's a look at the next 10 days of precipitation, most of it coming right through the Great Lakes, but then through the second half of this time period, it looks like another system could bring some much needed rain to parts of Texas, Kansas, and Oklahoma, while we're still going to be looking at a decent amount of mountain snow out in the west and northern Rockies across the northern plains, but also some lower valley rain as well. So that's going to be good news back there in the west. Here's a look at that snowfall as we head over the next couple of days, really into the weekend. And you can see a lot of that really adding to those already record snowfall totals there in North Dakota from the last storm system. But northern Rockies, even down towards Denver in the mountains of Colorado there, and back into the Cascades, seeing some decent snow this late in the season. It's going to add to that snowpack and help as we head towards the springtime season there. Here's a look at our map. We've got high pressure in the east behind that very powerful storm system. We've got a couple of lows here through the middle of the country, going to start to bring some rain showers into the Midwest and the Plain states, bringing even a couple thunderstorms there along with it. Meanwhile, high pressure in the west before that next system moves in. That's what's going to bring us the rain and mountain snow back in the west. But heading into Wednesday evening and early Thursday morning, this system moving eastward, most of the west staying dry, but that low moving onshore, bringing that rain and mountain snow along with it. And eventually this storm system right here will be one to watch for a chance for stronger storms as we head towards Thursday and into Friday across parts of the Midwest. Temperature is going to be very warm in the southern half of the country as well. Even the lows only into the 60s. Very muggy air out ahead of that system there, but staying very warm, especially into tomorrow afternoon. Amarillo, 91 degrees, 90 in San Antonio. That jet stream keeping it very, very warm. And as we head through the rest of the week, a big ridge forming here. A lot of warm air for the eastern half of the country and staying pretty active in the north and west. That's a look around the country. Now let's take a look at the weather where you live. Wilmington, Ohio, frost early and mostly cloudy, a high of 60 degrees. Heading to Ames, Iowa, cloudy and breezy with showers likely, a high of 55 degrees. And 55 in Montague, California with some showers.
New technology that can kill weed seeds using light. We have details next. And later, meet an Iowa man that says he accidentally won the lottery. How it happened in the country.
AgDay is brought to you by Authority Supreme Herbicide from FMC. Learn more at ag.fmc.com.
Plants need light to survive and grow, but too much can also be a bad thing. Today on Weed Wednesday, meet the scientists in Ohio hoping to use blue light as a weed destroyer. This shower of chaff may be the future of weed control.
So in terms of mechanical attachment, it's literally just going to be how it adapts and bolts in to the rear section.
The team at Global Neighbor is using high-intensity blue light and heat to kill weed seeds on their way through the combine.
That's where we use short durations of light at high intensity to alter a plant's growth. We can make it die, we can make a weed seed not grow, or we can make that seed grow faster.
It's an idea that started several years back.
We got a small business investment research grant from Edwards Air Force Base. They were trying to control plant and defoliate plants without using chemicals and not disturbing the desert crust.
The target? Tumbleweed seeds in the California desert. Then a farmer in Iowa heard about it and asked for help fighting water hemp.
I think if you could kill those, you could probably kill my seeds as well.
We found if we warm the seed up to a certain temperature and then flood it with blue light, we can damage the cells that control the reticle growth, and then therefore that seed won't become a plant.
The team went to work, creating a system that bolts onto the combine, destroying weed seeds on their way out the back.
As the years go on, as you're putting less weed seed back into the field because more and more of them are becoming disabled.
Blue light in smaller doses is also good at supercharging seeds.
We also found if we dial back that blue, but still warm up the seed, we can actually get the seed to get out of the ground faster.
This was at 2 seconds, this was at 5 seconds, and over there you can see it was 10 seconds.
And they're even looking at ways to build a system to replace chemicals for cover crop burn down.
As you can see, there was some damage done to the 2-second crop, but by the time you get to the 10-second treatment, you can see that the ryegrass is dead. I'm amazed. It's so exciting. And the thing was, you could see that it was having a bad day right away, because what was happening is it melts.
Right idea, using a blue light that one day soon may save farmers a little green during the growing season. In-field testing starts this spring, but so far researchers say the blue light appears to be capable of destroying 90% or more of the weed seeds that run through it. Well, up next, mistake pays off big time for one Iowa man. Details next. Have you ever won $1 million by mistake? No? Well, this guy says that's exactly what happened to him. Josh Buster of West Burlington, Iowa, bought 5 easy ticket plays for last Friday's Mega Millions lottery. However, the cashier accidentally only printed 1 play from the terminal, then offered to print 4 additional plays on a different ticket. Buster said that move probably changed the numbers he would have originally received, but it resulted in a big win. And that's all of our time this morning. Thanks so much for watching. From all of us here at AgDay, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Have a great day on the Farm Country.